Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to Ask NK. Today I would like to address a couple of questions you guys have been asking over the weekend, yesterday, and even today. So I've gotten a lot of questions from you guys that has to do with Maya no longer being for free and the whole issue about it being 1 year and limited and all that stuff. So there are certain things I would like to put in perspective. Now, the reason why I want to do this is I'm also having questions from students that I teach. I'm also having questions from subscribers, and also some other acquaintances are just simply sending me messages, and I think there's a lot of misconception about this. Now, first things first, Maya is still for free. The only difference here is it is now limited to just 1 year. This 1 year is limited in the sense that you are only going to be able to use the software within the 1 year period that they've given. It doesn't mean that you cannot use it more than that. It just simply means for the version which you're using, you are only being able to use this within that 1 year period. Now, I guess after that 1 year, you would be able to reapply for something more that can extend your time. Now, this is done in line to checkmate a lot of misuse of Maya, owing to the fact that before now, if you want to get 3D Studio Max, Maya, or any of the Autodesk softwares, you can just simply log on to Autodesk website, claim that you're a student, claim you come from one certain university, and apply and get this tool for free. So a lot of persons have been misusing this, using this to create content and all that stuff, and it's something that they're trying to do some sort of managerial approach, which I don't really think should happen at this point. It's not like this really happened at this point, because as at March, when I downloaded the version that was released, which was 2020, and also when the updates for 2020.1 was there, this was actually here. I mean, the idea of this being 1 year educational license, it was here. I didn't really feel like it was something to be hyped about, owing to the fact that as this is, it doesn't really change the fact that you are still going to be able to use it. At this point, you can still go over to Autodesk website, sign in, and still get this thing for 1 year. Now, for the students that are, for the subscribers asking, is this ever going to affect us? We're taking some courses online, we have some institutes we're going to. This is definitely not going to affect you guys. It's not affecting you for any reason. And what I mean by that is there is definitely a couple of blogs that they've released, and I'm also going to link that in the description so that you guys can have a very clear idea about what is going on here. So you can choose to get educational access, and if you go over to the next blog, it simply says that there are certain organizations that they deem fit to be qualified as educational institutions. Example of this includes accredited public or private universities. These public or private universities or qualified educational institutes in quote here should be an educational institute that has been accredited by an authorized government agency within an acceptable or within its acceptable local, state, provincial, federal, or national government. All right, so it doesn't really matter whether you're doing it online or offline, as far as the educational institution that you're going to, or that issues you a diploma at the end of the day that certifies that you are an official expert, or maybe a learner, or someone that is now credible to use this tool, has been recognized or accredited by an institution, whether local, state, provincial, federal, or even national. It grants you the access of learning this. This is also another thing that seems to bother a lot of persons. We are trying to learn some things online. How are we going to be sure? Autodesk has actually made a provision where your university or the institute or even the technical school you are learning from can come through and apply for them to be verified, and all of these things are contained within this PDF, and they're all hyperlinked, so you can simply click on them and go over and check it out. So if you're learning anything online, or maybe you're going to an animation school online, it is considered to be a technical school, as technical schools are specialized places where you can get skill. So this technical school involves whether you're trying to learn things online, and if you go over to study.com, there is a huge set of description for technical schools. So right here it says technical institutes provide specialized training in a specific career field, trade, or profession, including computer technology, which I think 3D is part of, business administration, culinary arts, electronics, medical assistance, legal assistance, automotive technology, and cosmetology. So programs at technical colleges can take anywhere from less than 2 years up to 4 years to complete and award a certificate, diploma, or associate degree. So if you're going to any school online that seems to award you a diploma at the end of the day, that school is considered as a technical college. So this is also something that you shouldn't be scared of if you're trying to learn Maya and maybe you want to work in the industry and you want to work in film. I don't think this is time for you to be scared about picking up this tool and learning. Now, with this said, for those that are throwing some kind of tantrums, asking why are they doing this, they shouldn't have there's a tool out there that is free, there's another tool out there that is free. I would like to actually, clear out some things. Not every paid software company can issue you a free tool that you can use. So with this said, if we take an example from Foundry, you would notice that even Foundry that has a relative tool called Modo kind of gives you 1 year for free, and after they issue you the first free 1 year, you have to pay for the rest. All right, so right here, Autodesk isn't saying that they're taking this plan. All they're trying to get is a verification that makes you a student for you to be able to use their tool for the first year. Now, after you're done using the tool for the first year, the next year you can still apply and get this up and running. So, and Autodesk is still not the only company that is asking you for your details to do this. At the same time, if you want to get a free version of Substance as maybe an instructor or a student, you still need to provide those same credentials or something very similar to that before you can actually get this going. So failure to provide academic document that is required from you would probably not get you the software. So if you're trying to get Nuke, if you're trying to get Modo, they actually fall within the same line. The same thing goes for Ziva. So Ziva is a muscle and fat simulation tool, which also does exactly the same thing. If you want to get the student version, you need to provide substantial documents that would make them, clarify and also confirm that you're a student or an instructor. So with this said, my suggestion for Autodesk is this. If you're trying to make your software no longer 3 years, I think the best thing to do is to make it a PLE version, which means instead of saving .ma, which is Maya ASCII file, or .mb, which is Maya binary file, Autodesk should have actually made it maybe .maple or maybe .mbple. So with this file format in place, there would be a learning version which you can absolutely get for free. The same thing that Houdini Side Effects is doing is what I would have suggested for them to do as well. So if you're trying to get Houdini, you can simply get a free apprentice version, which you can totally use for free, but it has its ups and downs and limitation with amount of renders that you can get, and you cannot simply export certain files, you cannot simply import certain files. Those are the kind of limitations I would have really wished that Autodesk actually came in play with. So with this, a lot of persons would still use the software for free, but maybe you would be limited with the amount of things that you can do. Modeling, rendering, all of those stuff could still be there, but you might not be able to save a native.maya file, or you might have a limitation with the number of cache that you can actually export out. So something like this is what I would have suggested for them to do. Having the whole 1 year and putting this thing in check would be a lot of things for people to take in at the same time. With the whole uproar about Maya is doing that and Autodesk is doing this, I don't really see a problem with that. I just see that they are trying to constrain the misuse of this software, and honestly that's about it. I think if you're going to use Maya, then you need to either pay for it or use it as a student. Same thing goes with apps like ZBrush. There is actually no free version of ZBrush, but if you have to use ZBrush, you definitely need to use ZBrush and pay for it. But there is a whole lot of alternative out there. One of the huge and one of the biggest alternative is Blender. So you can choose to use Blender to do your sculpting, and this would save you money for pay for ZBrush. The same thing, you can choose to use Blender for doing your modeling and animations and all that. So if you're not doing animation for film, like big budget films, or you're not doing some expensive rigs, you're not doing some what's it called, muscle simulation, crazy stuff like that, then you can simply stick to Blender. With Blender you can do a whole lot of things, and you can actually do some cool game assets and some cool game animations as well. So if you're trying to get Maya and you're not a student, you're not an instructor, then you can simply switch over to Blender. Same thing, if you're trying to get ZBrush and you cannot afford ZBrush, you can stick to Blender. Yeah, Blender has a whole lot of things you can do, maybe not so professionally or maybe not so solid, but it works. And the same thing goes for a lot of things. So it's just like Adobe constraining you not getting Photoshop and saying for you to get Photoshop free version you need so and so. And for me, I don't see that as a problem, because if you're not doing some very crazy graphic design, or you're not doing some graphic intensive artwork, or maybe you're not doing crazy photo retouching, then of course you can simply use an online PHOTOPEA version. All right, so you can simply use PHOTOPEA, which is an online editor, exactly the same thing you can get with Photoshop, and you can simply get this one and get good with it. It is totally free, and there's a whole lot of free alternatives that you can use. And if you also think like maybe the best thing that you want from Photoshop is the fact that it cleans cleans up your images pretty well. There is a remove.bg, which is totally free, that you can drag any image from any browser. You don't really need to download those images, and you can drop them directly there. And once you drop them directly there, the remove.bg simply removes all of the backgrounds for you. Now, if you have issues, you can simply hit the edit button, click on the erase and restore, and you can simply, use the brush and restore the paths that you want. So there is a whole lot of things that you can simply get for free, and you can download this and go ahead and work with it. So if you're having any of these problems, or maybe you're kind of thinking, now that this is not there, how can I deal with it? There is a whole lot of alternatives, and we've covered a lot of them in the channel. So simply stick to what you want. Maya is still for free. You can get it at this point. If you're already registered on Autodesk, you can always and consistently download this tool. And since it's 1 year, before the 1 year elapses, there's definitely going to be a new version which you can upgrade to, and it is still perpetually for free. The only constraint right now is for the newbies trying to get into Maya. You need to provide some sort of authentication document which would make them confirm that you are either a student or maybe you are an educationist. All right, the same thing that Maya is doing is what every other company has been doing for a very long time, but it's just a little bit crazy that it's happening at this point where there is a pandemic, and I think that is why everyone seems to be having the uproar. All right, so this is my 2 cents about it. I would like to know what you guys think about this in the comment section. And of course, if you have issues or if you have questions about this, you have comments about any of the things I've said, please put them in the comment section. And if you do like this video or you learned something from this, you can simply share this with a friend. And of course, if you're new here, you can go ahead and hit the subscribe button and also turn on notifications so that you don't miss the next video or the next update. And until I see you guys again with a tutorial update, free Friday, tutorial Tuesday, tips and tricks, things like this. Peace.